So just a couple of adjustments to the American non-combat moves just before we get started on this turn. He had originally wanted to place the new fighter in central United States. He's going to place it in eastern United States, so that's a change. And then over here in the Pacific, there were some naval units in Hawaii, and I think I didn't read his instructions closely enough, so that they're going to be redistributed. There's 3 naval units that were in C-Zone 26 that will be in other places. The battleship from C-Zone 26 is going to end up in C-Zone 16 with some of the rest of the fleet there. And then one of the cruisers and destroyer from C-Zone 26 is going to end up in C-Zone 7 with the other naval units there. So that's what that looks like now. The C-Zone 7 has 2 carriers with 2 fighters each, a cruiser, a destroyer, and a fully loaded transport with a tank and an infantry. And then C-Zone 16 has a carrier with a attack bomber and a fighter, along with a battleship, a cruiser, a destroyer, a submarine, and a fully loaded transport with an infantry and an artillery. So C-Zone 26 now only has 2 transports and a cruiser. So that's fixing all of the moves that that needed to be fixed. So we'll move on to UK turn 2 now. All right, this is UK turn 2. This is the Atlantic economy. This is the Pacific economy. With the Atlantic economy, we have 27 IPCs to spend. We're going to buy an air base for 15, a mechanized infantry for 4, and 2 artillery for 8. In the Pacific income, they have 21 IPCs to spend. They're going to save an IPC, and they're going to purchase 2 destroyers for 16 and an anti-aircraft artillery for 4. Hang on one second, I just want to double check something. Oh, sorry, AA guns are 5, so he's going to spend all his money on an AA gun. So, sorry, I didn't know that they were that expensive. Okay, so the attacks that he is going to declare. In Africa, there are a couple of attacks, so let's zoom in on those and see what we have happening here. Okay, 2 infantry from Ethiopia are going to load up on the transport in C-Zone 76, and they're going to come to C-Zone 98, and they're going to attack Alexandria. There will also be an offshore shot from the cruiser in C-Zone 76 and the cruiser in C-Zone 96. They will be joined by the fighter and the tactical bomber from Malta, and 2 artillery and an infantry from Cairo. The second attack in Africa will be a tank and a mechanized infantry blitzing through Italian Somaliland to attack the Italian troop in British Somaliland. There is one other attack on the Pacific side, but it's a walk-in. They will be they are declaring war on Japan, by the way, and they will be walking in to Kiangsi with 1 infantry from Kwangtung. So I will start setting up the rolls. There's 2 combats to determine here. Sorry, I just forgot to mention there is another component to the British Somaliland attack. The transport in C-Zone 39 is going to load up an infantry and an artillery from Calcutta, and they're going to be coming over to C-Zone 76 with that battleship, and the battleship will be performing an offshore attack as well on British Somaliland there. This is the attack on Italian Somaliland. The Brits are coming in with a combined land and amphibious assault. From the land, there's going to be a mechanized infantry and a tank. And from the sea, the HMS Glenern transport is bringing an infantry and an artillery. And the battleship Duke of York, HMS Duke of York, has an offshore shot. Now in our game, offshore shots are first strike, and if they hit, they don't get a defense unless there is a bunker in place there. So we'll roll that first and hit. So the Italians do not get a defense, and the Brits take the territory with no casualties. Okay, this is also a combined, this is Alexandria. This is also a combined land and amphibious assault. From the land, 2 infantry, or 2 artillery and 1 infantry. From the sea, the British transport ship, the HMS Invicta, is bringing 2 infantry, one of which will be supported by the artillery. There are going to be 2 offshore shots, one from the HMS Ajax from the Atlantic Fleet, and one from the HMS Newfoundland from the Pacific Fleet. There's also a fighter and a tactical bomber. Now, I have very specific instructions to take 1 round of combat here and then retreat into Egypt. So that's only if he doesn't get all hits on the first thing. So we do have the 2 offshores again in our version of the game. These are first strike. Okay. And 1 hit. So 1 of the infantry is killed with no defense. So we'll put that over here, and they don't fire again. Okay, so we have a 1 and 4 2s, plus a 3 and a 4. 2 hits. So that's the mech and the infantry. Okay, so I'm going to get 3 2s and a 4, and 3. 3 hits. So he will lose the 2 of these guys, and he will lose this guy. And I have been told to retreat into Egypt after this 1 round of combat. So the Italians will hold Alexandria, but they are certainly brought down quite a bit. Okay, for non-combat, we'll start in the Pacific. The British are going to load up their 2 infantry from Sumatra and bring them back to Sea Zone 39 and drop off in India. The 2 fighters and the tactical bomber from India are going to fly west, and they're going to end up in Transjordan with the French Foreign Legion troop there. In other news, over here in Africa, the 2 infantry in Kenya are going to move to Anglo-Egyptian Sudan. The fighter and the tactical bomber that fought in Alexandria are going to land in Egypt. Egypt. And then the destroyer from Sea Zone 81 is going to end up in Sea Zone 98 with the rest of the naval contingent there. Other movement. This lone transport here is going to start making its way down the coast of Africa. It's going to end up in Sea Zone 82, just off the coast of Nigeria. Also, the 3 fighter planes from England are abandoning ship, it looks like, and they're going to fly down to Algeria over here. Okay. I think that's all the movement. So I'll tidy up the board and we'll come back in a minute. Okay, placement for the UK. Their brand new air base is not going in Cairo. It's going in Transjordan. And then their 2 artillery and mechanized infantry are going into South Africa. And then over here on the Pacific side of the board, they're going to put their 2 new destroyers in the water in Sea Zone 39. And they're going to put their new anti-aircraft in Calcutta. Okay, so money adjustments. There is only one, actually. And that's that the Chinese gain one and the Japanese lose one. So we'll make that adjustment over here. China up to 9, Japan down to 29. There are, however, 2 other changes of ownership. Italian Somaliland is now British, and British Somaliland is now once again British. It's been liberated. Okay, income. So the Atlantic Brits get 20 IPCs and no bonuses. The Pacific Brits get 21 IPCs plus a 5 IPC bonus because they still control Kwangtung and Malaya. So they're going to get 26, and the UK is going to get UK Atlantic is going to get 20 exactly. So let's do our disposition of forces. Let's start in the capital. So in the UK, which they did not fortify, so they're looking to basically let the Germans have it. They have 5 anti-aircraft artillery, 5 infantry, 1 artillery, 1 mech, and then of course there are 2 visiting French and 2 visiting Canadians, plus a French fighter. There's also a bunker there, which will negate offshore shots. Oh, we forgot to roll for convoy. And my opponent reminded me that if Germany takes this, they're actually taking money out of their own pocket. So this was kind of a dumb move on my part. So the convoy, they're only going to lose $1 anyway. Okay. So instead of getting 20, they're going to get 19. And that'll go directly to Germany, obviously, if Germany takes London next turn, which there's no reason to believe that they won't. Okay, so yeah, that's what's in London. There are, in North Africa, there are 3 fighters in Algeria with the 2 French troops. In Malta, there is an infantry and an anti-aircraft artillery. In C-Zone 98, there are 2 cruisers, a destroyer, and a transport. In Cairo, in Egypt, there is a bunker and 2 artillery, along with a fighter and a tactical bomber, along with 2 Canadian infantry as well. In Transjordan, there is a new air base, along with a tactical bomber and 2 fighters that came over from the Pacific side. In Anglo-Egyptian Sudan, there are 2 infantry. All the way over there in C-Zone 82, there is a transport. Way down there in South Africa, there are 2 artillery and 1 mechanized infantry. Way over here in British Somaliland, there is an infantry, an artillery, mechanized infantry, and a tank. In C-Zone 76, there's a transport and a battleship. Moving over into eastern Persia, there's an infantry. In the capital in the Pacific, Calcutta, there are, how many men? 9 infantry, 3 anti-aircraft artillery, and 1 bunker. In C-Zone 39, there are 2 destroyers and a transport. In Kiangsi, there's an infantry, and in Kiangsi, there's an infantry. In Kwangtung, there are 2 infantry. Way down there in Malaya, there are 2 infantry and a anti-aircraft artillery. In C-Zone 37, there's a destroyer. I think that is all the UK forces that are around the board. So, Italy's up next. Let's see what Mussolini is up to. Stay tuned.